Listen, I want you guys to come in really close, okay? Come here. Come on in. Come on. Closer. Yep. Perfect. Okay. We're going to do a tier list because we had so many changes. I did a video on all the roster moves. You can go watch this, the last video. This just covers all the news, okay? But to help visualize things, because there's actually been a couple of different changes that have occurred in the last day, I'm going to go over those updates as well. And I think it's going to be nice to visualize everything. I'm actually using the AceZone headphones right now and the AceZone mic to record this. You let me know if it sounds good. I've used this mic on the road and I was like, oh, I'll just use it because I'm their brand ambassador. And then I recorded a couple videos with it and I was like, this is like almost as good as my normal mic, honestly. So let's go ahead and give this a look-see. All right. We've got 5 tiers: AceZone, slight upgrade, floating, worse, and EG. And the thing is that we can go ahead for floating right now, I guess, and throw like G2, heroic, ENCE, phase, and some's undecided. Not that many other. Okay, these ones, I'm actually not going to say it's this simple. I'm going to say that G2, the only opportunity I could have seen for them to make an upgrade was to maybe get Shuhei instead of Hooksy. Okay? So we could say maybe they're slightly worse by staying with the same lineup because there's still questions about whether or not Hooksy can hang and bang at this level. I'm fine with that. I'm actually cool with them keeping the same roster, so it's a little bit awkward here, but I guess ENCE also are going to be floating in a way that I wonder if they're going to fall behind because there are some good roster moves that had taken place. Also, Shuhei could have gone to phase and improved them. I think that Heroic are a team that actually win in terms of floating because they've got an average age of about 23. Cadian skewing that, you know, and then like Stound's like 21 and the best player on the team. So they're just a really good roster to go into CS2, where like Monacy's a really good player to go into CS2. G2 overall is a little bit older, but I think Monacy might be like the best player in CS2 on paper right now. Like, I think so. So, okay, so we'll keep this like maybe slightly around here. I think we could just keep these in floating, okay, just in general. But just to explain my logic. Now, Cloud9 have actually made a huge change. They're keeping Hobbit, they're removing Nafany, and they're going to be bringing in Electronic and Perfecto. So Buster and Nafany are out. Electronic and Perfecto are coming in from Na'Vi. That's the most updated rumor so far. If this happens, this is an unbelievable roster. I just had a video that I put it on Twitter talking about how like Electronic in 2020, Flamey said he had the best communication on the team. This guy has good comms. He's an IGL. People are like, well, he's nothing without Blade. Blade's not calling during rounds, guys. You guys need to stop overrating people who aren't even calling in rounds, okay? Blade might be great for the prep, but that doesn't mean that Electronic needs him to be able to figure out how to call. He was an elite player before Blade even joined the team. He's an elite player and fragger and always had great communication. So no Nafany, but Hobbit instead. That firepower for maybe a little bit or maybe, honestly, maybe you don't get 2 cooks in the kitchen, you get Electronic calling. For me, this is an insanely good team now, okay? Axile, Shiro, Hobbit, Electronic, and Perfecto. Perfecto, the best possible upgrade to Buster. Electronic in IGL, way better fragger than Nafany. Way better, like, dude. You got 2 top 5 players alongside Electronic, who's been a top 5 player multiple times in his career, and then best anchor in the world, second best anchor maybe to Shush, and then Hobbit, who's also been in top 20. I don't know, man. I think this is the AceZone. This is the roster of the day, really. So honestly, half the reason I made this video. Now, in a big one here, MOUZ, I'm going to put this in AceZone as well. They got Shuhei, okay? So Shuhei's rejoining the MOUZ NXT lineup of old, and it's the same. It's the exact same lineup as the MOUZ NXT lineup, except instead of Shane, who was on the MOUZ NXT lineup, they have Frozen. So MOUZ NXT already at one point in MOUZ's history flipped him on the rankings with Shuhei as the IGL. Then the story is that all the players from MOUZ NXT got promoted except for Shuhei, even though he was the best IGL in the Academy League and the one IGL that should have absolutely got moved up. They kept Degster because he knows more about Tier 1, who knows. Shuhei makes it to a grand finals. They get him, finally, back from Gamer Legion. This is the roster he's been waiting for, but now they have their support player in Shane. It's turned into their star player in Frozen, and Frozen has had a great 2023. Also mega talented. This is crazy good for MOUZ. Very young roster, peaking at the right time, got all the players they want back. The only two issues, like question marks, are if Torzi's, if Torzi could be played better with Shuhei, I'll understand. Shuhei brought A-Core back, okay? We started talking about A-Core again because of Shuhei, all right? And then JDC's also his stats started to fall off as well. But MOUZ had a very rocky start to 2023, so, all right. MOUZ, Cloud9, loving this. Vitality, Ace Zone, another team that made an unbelievable roster move in getting Flamesy. I already covered this in my news video, but I really think that Dupree would fall off given another year or two, just like he did before these last 3 months, and just like he has been for like the last 2 years. So no hate, but I think Flamesy is like one of the players that I've been going to bat for a long time now, that I want like top teams to have looked at. And I think he's like the perfect move for someone who I think it's very possible he falls off again. So shout out to Zonic for making that move. You really earned my respect. Big, I think we're putting them in slight upgrade right now, but it's sort of weird. I've heard that Germans are very excited about this move. You've got Sin, I think, coming in for hyped. Favin is out because of paternity leave, and then Process is getting the move up. This one's a little bit out there, and then Mantu's coming in for the op. I think the op thing is the most interesting because I think Mantu should get another chance. I'll go a slight upgrade because it's not Ace Zone, but I'm not sure. I think it's better than floating for sure, and I don't think it's worse. And I'm really excited to see what Mantu can do because I think that, like, stats-wise, when it first did Laos top 20 of HLTV, looking at Mantu's stats in the first year when he played with OG, he was like one of the top 10 players in the world, even though the competition wasn't there. So I think he's shown incredible talent. I think he just needs to take more risks as an opper so he can be more impactful. Okay, I think he's just a little bit, I don't want to say lazy or selfish, but he's a bit too passive for sure. You shouldn't be able to characterize Guardian. I used to interview Guardian more than any other player at events, and one thing he said to me always stuck in my mind, and that's that I asked him if he regards himself as a passive opper or aggressive opper, and he says there are no passive oppers and aggressive oppers. There are only good oppers and bad oppers, and so you have to know when you need to take that risk and when to be able to play in every style to be good. So if you're regarded as passive, that can necessarily be a bad thing. Aggressive can also be a bad thing, but maybe you do one more than the other, but you have to be able to do all of them. And I think that Mantu right now, passive. So coming into this, all right, Astralis, I don't like this. Are they worse though? They got Glaive out, who I think was definitely phoning it in. And then they're going to have Blame F calling, which I don't like. They keep the Vice, which I like. They lose Altex, which I don't like. They keep Buzz, which I don't like. But I can understand keeping one of Altex or Buzz. I just think they're both a little too inexperienced to both be on the team at the same time. But like Altex actually played at the Academy League level for a long. He has more experience, and I think you can see it in game. So for me, I don't know. I don't think this turns into a winning lineup, though. They got Stare. It can't be floating. I think that, like, I'm gonna put this at worst from now because I don't know about Blame F as an IGL. No, nothing really good to say about his time on Complexity, and yeah, nothing. There's no like tournament wins for him in this role or anything like that. So I'm not a big fan. I think it will blast groups top to group once 2020, something like that. But that's it. All right, Furia are going to be bringing in. This one's really interesting. Fallen. I'm doing this all off memory, by the way. So Fallen coming in. Art. Staying on the team, sorry. Drop and Safe are the ones getting removed. Safe, too good versus tier 2 teams, not good enough versus tier 1 teams. Changes the way he changes up, man. He changes up. You know what I mean? Changes up in a way that's like, why are you doing that? Why aren't you as aggressive as you are versus tier 2 teams in the tier 1? It's like he gets scared or something, but he really does a good job of showing it. Drop, not good enough at anchoring. Too much of a risk, I think, in a lot of the games. I was a big fan of Drop. I could see he's a smart player, but I think I doubt that. I think I changed my opinion on that. And I think he needs more time maybe to get to that position, but I don't think he's there right now. So they bring in Fallen, which I think is actually a pretty sick move. Somehow Fallen on Imperial has done amazing work. I'm just kind of surprised that he's not retiring. So it's a little bit weird for me in the sense that I thought Fallen was going to retire. I talked to Fallen at Rio in person, and he said, I've spent like 2 months at home with my girlfriend. Like in this last year, I'm old. I won everything already. It's time for me to call this a day soon. I was asking this because of Imperial and everyone was talking about this, but like he said, I got one more in me. He did. And if he's going to join Furia, this is a very serious team, right? Imperial, it's the last dance. Looks like we're rolling 2 nights though. So I think Furia actually an upgrade to keep Queserado, Yuri. They're going to get Cello, I think, is the 5th. And then Art, I would have liked to see Jota actually instead of Cello, because I think Jota, another one of those players for me that I think should end up on the best Brazilian lineup. But Cello, of course, as an entry, 2 very different styles. So thinking about the team, I guess Queserado and Yuri, there may be a balance problem if they have another 3rd slow guy. So yeah, and I haven't looked at all the spots. So okay, we'll give this an upgrade. Honestly, I'm going to give this an upgrade. They had problems. I think they tried to solve them, and I think they did a pretty good job. Navi are, for me, dude, what? How do I even? I actually don't know what to say about this because, like, I actually have to process this. So, JL, Imma, simple, bit. JL, Imma, simple, bit. Alexi B. I mean, this is just so, like, what? You know? Like, this could literally be EG or slight upgrade. I don't see this being ace zone, but, like, come on, this is nuts, right? It's just so many variables. Too many variables. I can't handle all the variables. Is this EG level management? That is not I could not picture Navi before this making a move that would make me say that this is akin to EG management. Like, this is almost the biggest insult you could possibly have. Like, I don't even know, man. I really feel like this is so crazy. I'm excited to watch, though. I'll say that. Okay, we'll just go with worse for now. It's like they got the guy who almost got major MVP. They got JL, who might be fresh blood and talents going to CS2. They're taking a huge risk going international, but everyone's going to watch. Simple's been getting slightly worse, which is not a great sign. Alexi getting a last chance when, dude, this is a Shuhei opportunity. I don't know, man. I feel like, yeah, I'm just, whatever. Someone has to be an EG besides EG themselves. Okay. Complexity got EliGE, dude. Shout out to Jason Lake for probably paying EliGE 4 times the amount that any other player on EG or Complexity are going to get. This for me is also a great sign that this team will get more support in terms of like going to Europe for more days, like facilities. Like, I think if EliGE asks for something, they're going to get it again. It's sort of like the old Complexity lineup with Blame F, and all these guys are getting paid so much money. I think they're going to get the way more support now because they've got to protect this investment of EliGE. And I think EliGE is not going to be shy about telling them what they need to do to be a winning team. So I think he's going to bring a lot in the way outside of the server. In the server, I hope that it's copacetic between the whole team. I know EliGE brings a lot of... I've heard EliGE is very hard to work with as a teammate. I've heard that from his teammates. So I don't know. I think it'd be crazy to see him on a new team. I'm kind of happy that I think, like, because he's hard to work with as a teammate, I think it's because he's honest, and I think that's actually what will make him an interesting prospect for Complexity to, like, organization wise, like to bring a little edge, to be like, you know, to bring the energy. Hopefully the tilt doesn't come in, but I'm excited. I mean, you got to call this a slight upgrade, that's for sure, over Fang. EG, speaking of Fang, I think there's room for him to maybe come in, but there is an official upgrade. Sorry. Okay. No matter what happens, EG is not going in the EG tier because they've disbanded their old lineup. So they're going to be, the thing is that what happened is right here, there was a point at which they had Jax, Electronic, and Zorte, and EliGE. All nearly joined the team. And if they had all joined, I would only be worried about them being managed by EG, but not the fact that they are on the team, because that actually would have been a good team. I mean, it would have been fucking crazy. It would have been hard to figure out, but it would have been a good. It would have been a good team. It would have been insane to watch. Okay, it's not North American, whatever, but this is the second best option. Okay, that deal fell through. It's pretty ambitious, pretty crazy. I guess I'm not surprised, like, tragedy struck for EG right there, because it's not like they have the best reputation for, like, the players who might be wanting to who get offers from other organizations that they trust more. But they made a good effort to get that team. Instead, they upgrade their EG Black lineup, which is great because their EG Black lineup showed so much promise. I'm very happy for Junior in particular. With the whole lineup, I believe it's actually Rush who might not be playing as the fifth. Automatic is coming from the main lineup, which it's that's an upgrade. So we'll call that a slight upgrade from the old lineup. Not exactly a zone. It's a fallback plan, but maybe it was a fallback plan they were thinking about anyways, because what are the odds you're going to get Jack, Sorte, EliGE, and like that was crazy. This month has been so nuts. But okay, we'll call it a slight upgrade. EG, not an EG tier, okay? Liquid in EG tier. What the fuck are you doing, Liquid? They got Rainwaker. They have a Yakinder Calling, who has no tournament wins as an IGL. I don't care. I know he has good communication and stuff. Well, when compared to Electronic, Blast Fall Spring Final as IGL and MVP individually, basically. Yakinder does not have that pedigree. Don't see the experience. He's not the. I want him to focus on fragging. Not running in first and making calls just bugs me. I know Apex does that, but I don't know, man. I'm not seeing that same. Not with Liquid. I'm not seeing it. They're going to, and the only thing is, they're going to be playing. They're going to be playing the EU RMR. They're playing the EU RMR. This is as treasonous as it is clumsy. The fact that they're giving up their identity as North America, that means less fans. Now they're playing in the EU RMR, harder RMR. So not only now they're going to have less fans because they're not an NA team. It's going to be friggin' NAFLI. And then, like, that's it. And then they're going to have an OC, poor NAFLI and OC, surrounded by Europeans. And then it's going to be playing in the EU RMR where freaking Cloud9 and FaZe played against each other in the LCQ and the EU RMR, the last major. Like, that's how hard the EU RMR is. Now they're going over there with a player that most people have never heard of, Rainwaker. No hate on him. People understand. No hate on him. It's just that the stature of this team and the fact that they're switching to a harder RMR and region with a player who has no experience at all, it is such a crazy risk to take, both as a brand and as a team that's in a ranking that has expectations, that's literally looking at a Grand Slam run in their rearview mirror that they're trying to get back to. Like, this is a crazy amount of risk. I don't really see the upside. If they had taken Perfecto and Electronic to Liquid, I would have said, damn, that's a crazy risk. I hate that you're not North American anymore, but that's a worthwhile risk. You get an IGL, a Star Fragger, tournament winning team, best anchor, boom. They could literally lead and carry this team. Instead, they've got two players, Patsy and Rainwaker, who they've got to teach. EG tier, man. EG tier. OG, EG tier, dude. What the fuck are you doing, OG? This is OG. You know, I can't even put Navi down here. Like, OG and Liquid just won this one for me. Like, OG, you guys know how I feel about OG, man. But OG, they cut Dagster on, like, apparently, like, a last-minute notice, whatever the hell that means. I mean, it's off-season, you get cut. But why didn't you keep him? Okay, they wanted to get Regali, I understand that, but, like, I'm actually excited about Regali, but Dagster is better and known, and I believe in Dagster calling, to be honest. Regali's a very passive opera who's a very good closer, but now they've got him being supported by Keto, by Fasher, Nexa. Damn, I try to do this entirely from memory. I'm going to go ahead and check here. Fasher and Keto. Yeah, Fasher and Keto. Neofrag is out. That's fine with me. I think Neofrag was definitely not that good. Oh, Fiku. They're building around Fiku. Fine. I actually think Fiku is a better closer, better overall. That's fine. But now they got. He's not a star. He's not like a true star. Like people don't understand. Like Fasher used to be better on his previous lineup. That's fine. They have potential, but he couldn't carry Fnatic. It's not like he is a star in a support player role, like for real. Like to the level of like being a Blast partner, being top 5, being like winning tournaments. Like this is what OG are trying to do. And now they got Keto, Fasher, and Nexa, and Fiku, and Regali. Like, dude, this is like random tier 2 team that you might hear about one day on an org that has way more support and opportunities, but like a team that will definitely, it feels like, make a roster move before they ever figure this out. I'm not really feeling this. I'm not feeling this at all. Especially when you had Dexter and now don't want him. And like, yeah, the last team was better, and I don't think this is just worse. This is just crazy to me. So I really hate this. Spirit's up in the air, Fnatic's up in the air, I think, and Nip. Oh yeah, Nip are an interesting one to end on here. So Nip are going to keep getting Hampus instead of Alexi, and they're going to. I think they're gonna float. I have no idea if they're gonna trend worse or better. I think not worse. Yeah, I think we're just gonna. This is the one team that has made a move that I think we're gonna call a team that floats. So I don't really have high expectations for them. I don't think too much changes in their future, but this is where I'm gonna put them at. For the rest of these rosters, there are some here. I personally think the major upset teams that came through, their best players or most appealing players got taken, like Apex and like Gamer Legion. I don't really rate these orgs more than I rate the players that got poached already, Imma, Shuhei, JL. So we'll see what happens. I think NIP, it's a shame that Nock can't be on this team because Hedrick has actually gotten really, really good, but hoping for Nock to get onto a better team. But yeah, these are the teams right now. Here's my tier list, man. This helps visualize things. This is what I feel. And you let me know what you feel, okay, if you like this or not. And let me know as well that the headphones actually sound pretty good. You can get a pair of these Aspires on acezone.io right now. Thanks for watching. And so much more content coming. So much more, man.